All right, buckle up, wrestling fans, because we are diving deep into Me and the Boys Wrestling this week.
Yeah, it's been a wild one.
Wild doesn't even begin to describe it. I mean, we've got surprise fearings and shocking title changes and uh,
Contract loopholes.
contract loopholes, exactly.
Yes.
And honestly,
It's enough to make your head spin.
it really is. So I've got this stack of sources here, and I'm a little nervous to see what went down.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is that the future of the company is now up in the air.
Oh, for sure.
We've got power struggles, simmering rivalries that are boiling over,
Yeah.
and a whole lot of questions about who is really in control.
And speaking of control, we got to talk about DMP, right? This
This
is
self-proclaimed, demented, monal psychopath.
exactly. He's been calling the shots, but
It looks like his grip on power might be slipping.
yeah. And a big part of that seems to be Lily Charmaine and her interview with DMP.
Oh, yeah, that interview was explosive.
First of all, how did you guys even get Lily Charmaine for an interview?
Mm.
She's like wrestling royalty.
Well, let's just say we've got our ways.
Okay, fair enough. But what made this interview so important?
Well, for one, DMP used it as a platform to fire Booker Man.
He fired Booker Man during an interview.
Right there on the spot.
That's cold-blooded.
It was a power move, that's for sure.
So what was Lily Charmaine's reaction to all of this?
Oh, she handled it like a true professional. But her line of questioning throughout the interview suggests that she might have had an ulterior motive.
Oh, really? Like, look,
It's almost as if she was deliberately trying to provoke DMP, to get him to reveal his true nature.
ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So she wasn't just there for a fluff piece.
Yeah.
She was digging deeper,
Exactly.
trying to understand the man behind the
madness.
madness, yeah.
And it seems like her strategy worked, because DMP's actions during that interview, especially firing Booker Man, well, they've started a chain reaction that could reshape Me and the Boys Wrestling as we know it.
Okay, so we've got DMP on shaky ground, but there's more, right? The Switch event is adding another layer of intrigue.
Yeah. The switch is interesting because it works on a couple of levels. On the surface, it refers to the move to the new WWE 2K24 video game.
Right.
But it also feels like the company itself is on the verge of a major power shift.
And that's where RVK comes in, right?
Mhm.
He found some kind of loophole in the contract that could prevent DMP from actually owning Me and the Boys Wrestling.
That's right. And he revealed this bombshell during, you guessed it, that same interview with Lily Charmaine.
Wow, talk about strategic timing.
Right.
So RVK is playing chess while DMP is playing checkers.
It seems that way.
By going public with this information, he's basically undermined DMP's authority and thrown the whole company into a state of uncertainty.
And that uncertainty is creating some big opportunities for the other wrestlers. We're seeing new alliances form, old rivalries reignite, and a whole lot of ambition coming to the surface.
Okay, so before we jump into the matches, can you just quickly explain this loophole?
Sure.
What did RVK actually find?
Well, basically, there's a clause in the contract that prevents the ownership of Me and the Boys Wrestling from being transferred without everyone agreeing.
Oh, I see.
All the stakeholders have to give consent.
And guess who hasn't given their consent?
RVK. So DMP might be acting like he's the big boss,
Right.
but legally, his position is very shaky.
This is getting juicy. All right, let's dive into some of the matches that went down amidst all this drama.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's start with Tebow's unbelievable victory over The Flash.
Yeah, talk about an upset, right?
This match was the definition of an upset. I mean, The Flash is a powerhouse. Speed, those lightning-fast moves, but Tebow took him down. I still can't believe it.
What I find so interesting is that Tebow's win wasn't just about brute force.
Yeah.
It was about resilience, strategy,
And a little luck.
and maybe a little bit of luck, yeah.
And you can't forget about the crowd. They were going absolutely nuts for Tebow. It felt like the whole arena was rooting for the underdog.
Definitely. It was a victory for Tabo, but it was also a victory for anyone who's ever dreamed of overcoming the odds.
100%. And speaking of making a statement, did you see RJ the Terrible's debut?
Oh man, talk about making an entrance.
This guy destroyed RoboCop in under a minute,
I know.
and RoboCop is a legend.
RJ the Terrible's debut was definitely meant to send a message. He's not here to play games, he's here to dominate.
And with DUI and The Block as his managers.
Oh yeah, he's got the backing to do some serious damage.
But is this too much too fast? I mean, will the audience turn on him if he's this dominant?
That's a good question. It's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
RJ the Terrible needs to find a way to connect with the audience, you know?
Right.
Give them a reason to care.
Make them invested.
Exactly. Otherwise, this initial wave of excitement, it could fade away pretty quickly.
All right, before we move on to the main events, can we talk about the Leftovers Rumble? I mean, come on. You can't just throw Tupac and Big E and Shrek and Santa Claus into a ring together and not expect us to break it down.
I know, right? The Leftovers Rumble was just pure, chaotic fun.
It really was.
It was a spectacle.
Oh, yeah.
But it was also a really smart way to introduce some unexpected characters and maybe even set up some future storylines.
Right. Like, what was the deal with Santa Claus? Is he going to be a regular competitor now?
Who knows?
And what about Shrek?
Maybe he'll team up with Donkey for a tag team match. The possibilities are endless.
I love it. That's what makes me and the boys wrestling so great.
I know. Anything can happen, and it keeps us guessing week after week.
Exactly. And this week was no exception. But before we jump into the rest of the matches, let's take a quick break.
All right, sounds good. Speaking of unpredictable, we got to talk about Hulk Steve.
Oh, yeah.
His match against Cody Harris was brutal.
I know, even for an ambulance match.
It seems like he's embracing this darker, more aggressive persona.
Yeah, that shovel shot to the ribs was hard to watch.
I know, it was rough.
But I have to admit, this new Ruthless Hulk Steve, he's kind of captivating.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
Do you think this shift in his character has anything to do with, like, the power vacuum at the top?
I think it's possible. With the company in such a state of flux, you know, wrestlers like Hulk Steve, they might feel like they need to make a statement.
Yeah, make a statement.
Establish themselves as a major player in this new era.
Right, right.
And what better way to do that than by winning the AEW title?
True, a championship belt definitely adds some weight to your arguments, especially when things are this chaotic.
Absolutely.
Okay, before we move on, there's another match I got to ask you about. Hunter S. Mustache versus French Lover.
Oh, yeah.
This whole Jersey versus Mustache rivalry, it's been building for weeks, and the match itself did not disappoint.
Hunter's mustache is such a fascinating case study in how to build a persona around, you know, a seemingly ridiculous gimmick.
Right.
As long as his mustache is on the line, he's undefeated.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's such a good way to create drama and intrigue.
It is.
It also plays into that classic wrestling trope of, like, the hero overcoming the odds. And let's be honest, the visual of Hunter S. Mustache, like dramatically adjusting his mustache before every big move, that's gold, pure entertainment gold.
Oh, absolutely. It's a masterclass in showmanship.
Yeah.
But beyond the theatrics, he's also just a really talented wrestler.
Oh, he is, he is.
And he has this knack for connecting with the audience and that
Yeah.
combination, the skill and the charisma.
That's what makes him so compelling to watch.
Exactly.
Speaking of compelling, the women's division saw a major title change this week, with Lady Strange defeating Mishi in a casket match.
That match was intense.
It was.
A masterclass in psychological warfare.
Yeah.
The casket, you know, it just added this whole other layer of morbid fascination, just amplified the stakes. You could feel the tension in the air.
You really could.
And Lady Strange's approach, it was very methodical.
That was like chilling.
Almost chilling, unsettling.
But undeniably effective.
Undeniably effective, yeah. Her victory marks a big shift in the women's division. I mean, Mishi, she had been a dominant champion for a long time.
She had.
But Lady Strange's win, it suggests that a new era is coming.
Yeah, it really does.
It's exciting.
This all leads us back to this switch. Yeah. And that looming question. Can James Owen Brown actually reclaim control of the company? I mean, with DMP lurking in the shadows, anything could happen.
That's the beauty of me and the boys wrestling, right?
Oh, yeah.
The unpredictability, it keeps us on the edge of our seats.
Absolutely.
And we know DMP isn't going to go down without a fight. He's already hinted at plans for revenge.
Oh, I'm sure he has.
And James Owen Brown has announced that grueling gauntlet match for next week with DMP as one of the competitors.
Yes.
For those who don't know, a gauntlet match basically means he'll have to face a series of opponents, one after another.
It would be brutal.
Until he's either defeated or he outlasts everyone.
Oh, man. Talk about a test of endurance.
It's a brilliant move by James Owen Brown.
It is.
He's not only giving the audience what they want.
Right. That chance to see DMP pushed to his limits.
But he's also putting DMP in a really vulnerable position.
So it's a win-win for James Owen Brown.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
I mean, DMP thrives under pressure.
That's true.
This gauntlet match could backfire on James Owen Brown, give DMP the opportunity to prove he's still the top dog,
Yeah.
rally support from those who still see him as the rightful leader.
So what you're saying is this could actually make DMP even stronger.
It's possible. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so we've got this high-stakes gauntlet match on the horizon, a company teetering on the brink of chaos, and a whole roster of wrestlers eager to seize the opportunity. What else should we be watching for as this saga unfolds?
Well, I think the key here is to watch the alliances. Who is gravitating towards James Owen Brown? Who's siding with BMP? And perhaps most importantly, who's playing both sides?
Ah, good point. Like French Lover, right? He's been all over the place.
Exactly. His actions in the upcoming matches, particularly that gauntlet match, could really tell us which way the wind is blowing in Me and the Boys Wrestling.
Okay, so French Lover is one to watch. Anyone else we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, DUI's been making some noise lately, hinting at a title shot.
Right.
And let's not forget about Dr. Volcano,
Oh, yeah, Dr. Volcano.
who was denied a title opportunity right before all this chaos started.
Right before DNP took over.
Exactly. So they both have a score to settle.
And I can't help but think about those algorithm-generated matchups. The chat was buzzing about those.
I saw that.
Some of those pairings were interesting, to say the least.
The Block teaming up with Shrek.
I know, right?
Rick Sanchez versus Leonardo.
What?
It seems like the algorithms are pushing for some unconventional matchups.
Unconventional and potentially hilarious.
Absolutely.
It's all so unpredictable. So after this crazy week, what do you think? What does the future hold for Me and the Boys Wrestling? Is this the end of an era? Or the beginning of something even wilder?
It's hard to say for sure, but I think this instability, it could actually lead to some really creative storylines. New alliances, rivalries will intensify, and we might even see some familiar faces return.
Oh, come on. Give me some hints.
Mm-hmm.
Who could be making a comeback?
Let's just say, in Me and the Boys Wrestling, anything is possible.
Ugh, you're killing me.
Even the most unexpected returns.
Okay, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what James Owen Brown has in store for us.
Exactly.
But one thing's for sure. After this week, Me and the Boys Wrestling will never be the same.
It's true. That's what keeps it so captivating. This world, it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Full of surprises, unexpected twists, keeps us guessing, keeps us engaged.
Keeps us coming back for more.
That's right.
Well, this deep dive has been a wild ride.
It has been.
Betrayals, power struggles, championship changes, and a whole lot of uncertainty. Thanks for helping me break it all down.
Anytime, always a pleasure to dive into the world of Me and the Boys Wrestling.
And there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the unpredictable and always entertaining world of Me and the Boys Wrestling. Until next time, remember, anything can happen.